I'm Matt Bishart with REIT.com, and joining me today is Jeff DeBoer, President and CEO of the Real Estate Roundtable. Jeff, an issue I know that the Roundtable as well as NAREIT is focused on is FIRPTA reform. What are your current expectations in this area?
Well, we're really working twofold here with NAREIT, hand in hand. We want to advance legislation that will increase the 5% to 10% for publicly traded REITs, so that if foreign investors could hold up to 10% without facing FIRPTA. Part two is the repeal of the IRS notice dealing with liquidating distributions. Now, part two could actually be done at the Treasury Department, wouldn't require legislation. So right now what we're trying to do in this environment, it's very hard to get any tax bill done, any legislation done at all. So we're trying to get the Secretary of the Treasury, Tim Geithner, to take a close look at this issue and withdraw the notice that now subjected for the first time after 2007 liquidating distributions to FIRPTA. Our expectations are that they're going to take a hard look at this. It fits within the administration's overall call for more foreign capital into the United States. It also fits with their call, the so-called "we can't wait," and the recognition that legislation is tough. So our expectations are reasonably high that we can get a serious look by Geithner. I'm not saying that they're going to do it tomorrow or anything like that, but I'm suggesting that they're going to look at it hard. It would help relieve a lot of pressure on refinancing markets out there, so we're optimistic.
And outside of FIRPTA, what do you see as some of the most imposing regulatory issues facing commercial real estate owners in the next year or two?
Well, one of the big issues is how do we get the CMBS market back up and running, commercial mortgage-backed securities market. The Dodd-Frank legislation that was done a couple of years ago is now working its way through the regulatory scheme work. One provision that's being addressed by regulators deals with how the secondary market can come back, how this so-called skin in the game works, the premium capital cash account provision. We'd like to see that go away. We think that would help bring the market back quicker.
And obviously this is an election year, so a lot of the attention in Washington is focused in that area. What impact does it being an election year have on your efforts and the commercial real estate industry as a whole?
Well, it depends on how the elections really, the dynamics of them. If we get into a situation where we're really talking about tax reform in a big picture point of view, or we're talking about some other regulatory issue, it could dramatically affect real estate. Remember, tax reform, we've sort of seen this movie before. It didn't turn out so well at the end in 1986 in the short term for real estate. Maybe long term it turned out okay, but short term because of the transition rules wasn't very good. And so if we get into a situation where, oh boy, we've got to reduce the deficit tomorrow, we've got to do tax reform tomorrow, we've got to do all these things tomorrow, the election could have a really significant impact in terms of whether the House is controlled by Republicans or Democrats, or the Senate Republican or Democrat, or whether it's President Obama being reelected. That's not really a direct impact on commercial real estate. It may have impacts on the overall economy, but to suggest one of these things will affect real estate, just I don't buy.
Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
For more on this and other news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.